Ugh, I love this movie.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen this movie? And we're rolling! Hi guys, I'm Ben Farmer and I'm a cinephile.
Wait, why are you saying it like that?
Why
You're
not?
Like, wow.
Stop asking why.
Hey,
Start asking
start
why not.
saying yes, man.
Just-
that is not groundlings of you.
That was not very groundlings of you, Megan.
I'm Megan Carver and I'm a Cine newbie. We watch all kinds of movies, new and old.
And we let you know if you should watch them too. Welcome back to So I Married a Cinephile. God, feels like our 18th episode of season 4.
Is it actually our 18th episode of season 4?
It's either the 17th or the 18th.
How are you, Ben?
I'm good.
I don't know how we're going to cut that.
Do we want to tell people about the gaff we just had?
The what?
The little gaff we just had?
The gaff?
About the levels?
Oh,
Are they
we
not
thought
interested
the
in
levels were not fun.
We'll
for
cut
a
all
second.
this too.
You don't have to cut this.
No?
No, we
It's not
can
flowing
say
very well.
it's fine.
Is
Is what real life is like.
Is it messy?
It's messy. It's messy, and sometimes you can feel a little bit out of it, or a little bit like you kind of don't understand what's going on, even though you thought you were doing everything right.
A lot like today's movie.
A lot like today's movie.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I am well. My shoulder's giving me a little bit of pain
Yeah,
today.
you've been using the flaxseed pillow a lot.
Yeah, I have. I'm 36 and I exercise, so life...
Things start falling apart.
You know, things start... This is maybe the point in life where I have things taken away from me instead of things given to me.
Right.
So I'm trying to hold on to every part of my body.
Whatever you can, by hook or by crook.
Rocket got a haircut today. He's looking dapper. He is asleep behind the computer, so if you hear some snoring, that's not
what it is.
That's not either of us snoring from the other one talking.
Right.
That is our dog.
That would be really weird if we were continuing to have a conversation and then just snore intermittently in between.
Right.
Wait, so you said you haven't been feeling well, or not feeling well, but you're a bit sore. What do you think is making you sore?
I mean, you know, I'm an active guy. I'm an active American male. What can I say? It might be my pillow.
It could be your pillow.
Yes.
Let's also not detract from the fact that you're training for the marathon again.
That's true.
We haven't talked about that.
I run next week.
Next week?
Next Friday.
How are you feeling about it?
A little nervous.
Yeah?
But, you know, I'm going to get it done.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just like you did last time.
Exactly.
And last time you said you're never going to do it again.
There's a lot of reasons I'm running the marathon this year. We, of course, have been displaced because of COVID.
Right.
But I also wanted to do something that sort of honors the life in the city that we love and how we lost that pretty suddenly. And I wanted to do something that would honor the first responders as well, just sort of pay testament to a city that has been very good to me and good to us. And I wanted to run for all of those reasons and more. So.
Well, and like I remember too when you, and this is something, I can't remember what movie we did after you ran the marathon, but I remember you said when we recorded that, you were like, it felt like the entirety of New York City gave me a hug.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like New York is going through a lot. Everybody's going through a lot.
Correct.
We're all dealing with the pandemic.
Yep.
But I feel like of all the major cities that have been going through shifts and changes, New York, I think, has seen the biggest shift and the biggest change because there's so many people there. And it's like we literally can't do what we were doing before.
Correct.
In any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit different.
And this year was supposed to be the 50th anniversary of the marathon.
Oh my
I had a
God.
handful of friends who were training, who were really looking forward to running this year. Not that they can't, but they're not going to get that experience that I
Right.
had last year. I'm really glad I ran last year.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad I'm running this year because, again, for all of those reasons, it feels important.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good.
I'm nervous and excited.
Good.
Those two things can be true at the
I
same
am
time.
going to be all of New York for you.
I appreciate that.
And my aunt and her friend Bonnie will stay there throughout the day at the
Yay.
tracks with energy gels and bananas.
Great. I've got everything on order, so I'm prepped. I
Good.
just have to roll out. I'm going to be spending all my time on a foam roller.
I was actually thinking, because afterwards, remember last time we got you into an ice bath at home?
Mm-hmm.
You could just jump into Lake Sunapee.
I could just go jump in the
You
lake.
could just go jump in the lake and
Except
call it
my
good.
legs will be no good.
No, we'll hold you. We'll put like
You'll-
floaties on you.
I'll Tiny Tim my way through the lake. Try to stay above water.
Right.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
tired. Today was an incredibly frustrating day.
Yeah.
It was like, it felt like all tech was against me. Cause like I've just started this new job where I'm actually doing a basic script writing class for students that are in and out of foster care, which is incredible. Like the fact that I get to teach an online class for students that need to have these credits in order to get back into high school, that's huge.
Yeah.
And talking about this as an outlet for them to be able to potentially express themselves, if 1 out of 20 of them find something useful out of it, that's a massive win.
Yeah.
So I was recording a video for that, tried to edit it, and there was no sound. Turns out their sound is totally fine in the raw file, but as soon as I put it into freaking iMovie, it decides to bite me in the ass.
Right.
So that was frustrating. I couldn't upload a video to Twitter that I wanted to because I was at Shaw's and there were the horses walking up the highway. 'Cause that's our life.
It's New Hampshire, you know?
So yeah, it was just a really frustrating day. And I remember I got really frustrated. I was like, I'm going to go get a latte. It's going to be decaf though, because it's 3 p.m. I want to be sure I can sleep because I'm 35 and that's what happens now. But so I went and I went out and I did that and I came back and I finally was like, you know what? I just need to do yoga. And that's what I should have done at the very first time that I got frustrated. Is I felt so much better. I was able to kind of shake things out. I was able to meditate and zen. And just, man, if you haven't done yoga, you really should give it a shot. Yeah. And if there's a book you're interested in, no one's asking, but
here's some unsolicited
advice. There's a book called Stretch by Neil
deGrasse Tyson.
I don't remember his name.
Patrick Harris.
No.
Breen.
No. All of those Neils are wonderful
Neil
Neils.
Diamond.
I want to say Neil Ruddock, but that's not right.
Neil
Diamond. I'm thinking of Paul Ruddock, and then it's Paul Rudd, and at any rate.
I'm just trying to picture Neil Diamond writing a yoga book.
That sounds great.
Hands touching hands. No, you can't touch each other.
Reaching down touch your toes. Downward dog.
Everybody.
3-legged dog. Ow, ow, ow.
This is our Neil Diamond
Go
yoga
into
book.
the crescent moon. No, it's a book called Stretch, and it's about this guy who he's a writer for Rolling Stones magazine, and he's kind of an intense dude, and he stumbled into yoga, and his writing about his journey in yoga, I think, just normalizes anybody who isn't like advanced level yogi. Yeah. He's talking. There's one chapter where he talks about how he realized he needs to stop eating dinner before yoga class because he kept farting all through yoga class. He's like, the best time is when everyone said Om because no one could hear me, so my gases would fill the room along with all the other Oms and chants. So I'm okay. I realize I should have been a bit more mindful of what was going on, and maybe a bit more mindful about, you know, who I was and maybe what I wanted and what I was really feeling. Mm-hmm. You know, kind of similar to someone that we might know in a movie that we recently watched.
Is her name Cher?
No, that's from Burlesque.
Which we are going to... I'm so excited for that podcast.
We keep talking about it.
I know.
And too, like, to give props to that podcast, Thicket and Thistle, I just listened to their Bedknobs and Broomsticks episode.
And Greatest Showman.
episode. It's a good podcast. If you enjoy movie musicals, you will enjoy their show.
The fact that they prefer Disney animated animals to computerized CGI Greatest Showman animals.
That's all I need to know. We're best friends.
Exactly.
We're best friends now.
But we should also say that it's been a very busy week. We've been very fortunate to have some acting work that we've been able to do remotely.
Right.
Which is
I posted a picture of that.
Oh, yeah?
You were asleep.
Oh, no. You posted a picture of me asleep?
Yeah, because you were passed out on the couch. It was after we had finished the second day.
Oh.
And I did a selfie that was like, I didn't take a picture of you while you were asleep in our bed.
I see.
Well, no, it wasn't with your consent, but you were on the couch, not on the bed.
Okay.
So it's different. It's funny.
Did I have clothes on?
It's endearing. Yes, you had clothes on.
Thank God.
At any rate, yes, it's been a busy week. Yeah. We've had a lot going on. Oh, you don't have anything?
Let's just say I'm clueless.
Yeah. Speaking of being clueless,
we watched Clueless! A la 1995.
Oh my God.
Wow. Megan's first time.
My first time watching this movie. When was the first time you watched this movie?
So it came out in 1995, which means it probably hit video 96.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have been 11 or 12. And when I saw this, my older sister, Andrea, had rented it for a sleepover she was having.
So you crashed your sleepover?
No, it wasn't me crashing the sleepover. We only had one TV at the time.
Right.
We weren't like hoity-toity rich millennials yet, you know.
Oh, okay.
Because now my parents have a TV in their bedroom and we have the flat screen downstairs.
Oh, I see,
anyway,
I see.
So we had the one TV and we had the one VCR. So
VCR.
all the girls crashed down into the living room and put on Clueless.
Joined in.
And I was like, oh, I'll watch this. Why not? I like movies.
Oh my God.
And I didn't remember a whole lot of it, but watching this brought back so much, and it really made me appreciate, I guess, not the innocence of the 90s, because the 90s were far from innocent, but maybe compared to now, it felt so much simpler. And maybe it was simpler because we were only teenagers.
Yeah, we were only teenagers. Like, we didn't have to care about a bunch of stuff that we care about now.
Right.
But also, too, it was like, I was saying, like, with the fashion, there was this fine line between super cool and what the fuck are you wearing? And you could ride that line for as long as you wanted. It was like there were no mistakes, because if you just flipped it on its head, you were a genius.
Right, exactly. There was really no... I don't even know how to describe the style or the fashion of 1995.
It was eclectic.
Yeah.
Eclectic is the word I would say. But, so go ahead, your IMDb.
Yes, Clueless came out in 1995, written and directed by Amy Heckerling, starring Alicia Silverstone as Cher, Stacey Dash as her friend Dion, Brittany Murphy, rest in peace, as Ty, who's everyone's new friend, Paul Rudd, we're going to get into Paul Rudd.
We'll get into Paul Rudd.
We're going to be getting into Paul Rudd, and I know how that sounds, but we're going to get into Paul Rudd. Rounding out the supporting cast, we have Donald Faison, a bunch of great 90s and early millennial staples like Breckin Meyer, Jeremy Sisto, Dan Hedaya. We also have some great character actors like Wallace Shawn from The Princess Bride. He plays Vicini from The Princess Bride.
He was so great.
Yeah, so it's a really kind of great mix of supporting character actors with this sort of new age of young actors, I feel. So, plot point per IMDb: shallow, rich, and socially successful Cher. Is she shallow?
Yeah.
Is she?
Yeah.
Is she okay.
She starts out shallow.
All right. Shallow, rich, and socially successful Cher is at the top of her Beverly Hills High School's pecking scale. Thank you, Rocket.
Excuse you, Rocket.
Seeing herself as a matchmaker, Cher first coaxes two teachers into dating each other. And that's where it ends.
Wait, what?
I mean, initially she starts coaxing two teachers into dating each other.
That's not
the plot
of the movie.
That's like the first 25 minutes.
That's like
of
if
a 90-minute
you sang
movie.
25 seconds of a 3-minute and 40-second song.
Right.
That's not the end.
That's
That's not how it ends.
That's not a very good plot.
Oh my God, that's a terrible plot. Okay, let me see if I can do a better one. Socialite and daddy's girl Cher learns, makes new friends, tries to help others find happiness, and in the interim learns a little bit something about herself that she may not have known at the beginning.
Which is?
That she likes her stepbrother.
There it is.
I'm just gonna put it out there right now. I didn't care for that.
Did it make you uncomfortable?
It made me so uncomfortable. But here's the thing, like, let's also say that this is based on Emma, which in the story of Emma, they're cousins.
Which makes it better?
No, Cousins is worse.
So much worse.
Cousins is worse, but when I first saw Emma, I didn't think of it like that. I was like, no, they're friends.
Right.
I didn't think they were related. I was like, Gwyneth Paltrow and what's his curly face? They were not related. They were just friends.
Isn't Ewan McGregor in that one?
No, I don't think
Ewan
so.
McGregor's not in Emma?
Nuh-uh.
Really?
No.
I thought he was.
It's a less handsome Ewan McGregor.
Is it a less handsome Ewan McGregor? I have to look that up right now.
I didn't think of it that way. I just thought they were friends. And then seeing this from the outset, you know that that's her stepbrother. And it's never said how long they were brother and sister for. Even though they're not brother and sister, it's stepbrother, stepsister, but you don't really know how long that happened.
It really asks the brave, age-old question, would you rather be a cuz nuzzler or hot for stepbrother.
Right. I don't, and like, I even remember at one point she's like, "You're not my brother," like, just to hammer it in.
Right.
Like, we're not related. Our parents separately, not that we both came from, had relation, at any rate.
You're so flustered by this.
It made me uncomfortable.
Really?
So,
Ewan McGregor was in Emma. He played Frank Churchill.
but he didn't play the main person.
He was not the main
That's
person.
what I'm thinking of. I stand corrected and I sit down to continue the podcast.
Oh, Alan Cumming played Mr. I haven't
that's
seen
right.
the Gwyneth Paltrow Emma.
Speaking of Alan Cumming.
You should tune in for our burlesque podcast.
Tune in!
Which is coming.
So let's start this movie out. So
Cher.
Cher.
Not the Cher.
Not the Cher, but Cher, who's named after a famous singer who now only does infomercials based on what she says, is friends with a fantastic black girl that dresses... I don't understand. She, like, what is it? She makes a joke. She's like, "Your hat looks like you're the cat in the hat," or something.
Some Dr. Seuss joke.
Yeah, some Dr. Seuss joke. So they go to high school, and it's like obvious that they're the popular girls.
It's in Beverly Hills, so it's a very specific like group of people,
and like you see randomly people like throughout are clearly getting nose jobs, like everyone is getting work done on their face. Then Turk from Scrubs shows up as
he does
as what's her name, what's the character's name?
Dion is her friend's name, but I forget his name.
I can't remember.
Turk is fine.
Yeah, so he shows it, so then they're a thing, and then it's made very clear from the start though that Cher does not want a relationship.
Right.
She's like specifically does not want a relationship with a high schooler because high schoolers are immature.
Yeah, you see that in like Breckin Meyer. The whole thing with Jeremy Sisto, like I thought they were dating, like the way because he sits behind her in class and he keeps like reaching around and like kissing her on the cheek and stuff. I'm like, oh, must be.
Note about that. I thought they were
must
a couple.
Be her boyfriend. Yeah,
I didn't understand why they. I was like, oh, I guess she's got a boyfriend and she didn't tell us about
Which is not the case.
Which was not the case. Then it was like all the Walkmans and the phones, and then also too like we get introduced to her dad before all this happens.
Dan Hedaya,
who I
so
don't
great
know how this ugly guy from New Jersey, this ugly angry guy from New Jersey, somehow moved to LA.
Right.
Landed this gorgeous, wonderful, like tender-hearted blonde. And then became like, what was it, kind of a lawyer was he?
He's a litigator.
He's a litigator, that's right. So like the arguing kind.
Right.
So
that's all he does. And he encourages her to argue as well because we have a scene where she's not doing too well in her debate class.
Right.
And I think she's getting a C+ or something
she's
like that.
She's getting a C. Her friend is getting a C-.
And Cher debates her way to getting a higher grade.
Well,
and her dad applauds her that.
So she does that though. We're skipping ahead because she does that in the other classes that she didn't do well in.
Right.
She did it in PE by saying that she felt that men were horrible to appeal to the PE teacher. She did it for, I can't remember if it's like the history teacher who keeps trying to get them to get involved with like peace rallies and stuff.
Right.
So but then she can't talk her way into a good grade with the debate teacher.
Right, Wallace Shawn.
So that's when she decides, I'll
become
set
a
them
matchmaker.
up. I mean, honestly, that's pretty much the movie.
It kind of snowballs from there, and then after she realizes how good of a matchmaker she is, she decides to like do this for other people, and and of course we get the object of all of that is Brittany Murphy arriving at school. She's the fresh blood. She's the new girl in town.
Which, okay, I was gonna ask you about this. So she comes in and she's got like plaid on, and
she's also asking for cocaine.
She's asking for cocaine. She's talking about weed. She's like and like it sounded like she was coming from a cow town.
That's what I thought. I'm like,
and
I couldn't tell if she was coming from.
Accent?
Yeah, I couldn't tell if she was coming from the Northeast or if she was coming from like the Valley or something like that. It was
so confusing.
Yeah.
I didn't know where she came from. So then she becomes like the next project where it's like, oh, we're gonna make her into a popular girl.
So do you think Cher, and maybe this is what I tried to clarify, if you think she's shallow, because she's not stupid. I don't think she's portrayed as someone who's not book smart, because she uses a lot of very complicated words in the way she talks.
Even if she mispronounces them.
Even if she mispronounces them. Even if she's like, okay, so she has like all of these weird sort of
Haitians or whatever it was.
Yeah.
About
oh my god,
Haitians.
I actually have some trivia about that.
Okay.
But I don't know if she's stupid because she seems smart enough, but she's also like going out of the way to like better people's lives to make herself feel better in a way. But her mom died at an early age and she's like taking care of her dad and making sure he drinks his orange juice and isn't eating red meat.
Here's what I would say is that
I was confused.
She is this is like, how do I say this? I want to say this nicely because I think you're right. She's a good person.
Yes.
She is a good heart.
I agree.
And she is smart. She's clever as well. I think that she's also prone to being aloof. And I don't think that she intends to be. I think that she gets so excited and so focused on what's in front of her that, like, for example, when she's doing the driving test and doesn't notice the biker, that she doesn't have much mindful awareness outside of herself.
So she's kind of got blinders on.
I think she has bit blinders on. And I think actually maybe that's what the point is of the movie, is that she expands her blinders to encompass other people who might need help.
Sure.
And instead of just focusing on what she can do for herself, get good grades, look pretty, it's the amazing old school computer.
Oh my God, the computer that picks out her outfit.
The computer that picks out her outfit.
And this is pre-internet because this was 95.
Oh my God.
I don't think Windows 95 had even come out then.
No, and she's like tapping on the screen. I'm thinking, wait a minute, they didn't do that. But at any rate, so she's got this amazing, oh my God. So she expands from, I want to look pretty and I want to do good, to, well, I want to help others and help them feel good. And then once she's expanded to that point, then I think there's a bit of a betrayal, realizing that not everybody will take good deeds the right way.
Sure.
And then she actually turns inward from there. So it's like almost this continual thing I think we all go through, which is, I'm getting so deep into this and I was not planning on this.
It really is.
But it's like you focus on yourself and you focus on what you need. And then you have the bandwidth to focus on others and help them out. And then you might get stretched too thin or get wounded. And then you have to start all over again.
Okay.
And come back to yourself.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
I get that.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I feel like, to me, she was a pretty complicated character. Like,
she was.
There's a lot of history there. There's a lot to unpack. The movie itself is very self-aware in the sense that she is narrating the entire thing, essentially. So you have, like, her commentary on what's happening in real time. So it's not like it's a comedy, like some spoof or cheeseball comedy that's just doing it for the sake of being funny. It's self-aware and it's smart.
Right. So here's the thing, though, and this is something that I wanted to bring up. Yeah. So we have, what's her name? Tay, the cowgirl from Jersey. What's her name?
Tay.
Tay?
It's T-A-I. No?
Molly's shaking her head no.
It's Ty.
Ty.
It's Ty. Really?
Oh
it's
my
T-A.
God.
Oh, okay, Ty.
Okay.
Got it.
So Ty. So Ty, they're like, okay, we're gonna make her life better. We're gonna help her out. So they like wash out all the red of her hair, and then they teach her how to put on makeup. They teach her how to dress, and then she sees this guy, this skateboarder guy, like one that Avril Lavigne would have fallen over her platform shoes for.
Skater boy.
Like, and she was like, oh, he's so sweet and he's so nice, and she's like, no, he's not high enough on the food chain. You can do better than that. So it becomes very surface level very quickly in terms of
almost high school class warfare, essentially.
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of like it's a dash of Mean Girls in there, I would say. But then it also too, like, again, she's doing it because she wants other people to quote unquote succeed and find the right person, which is mirrored in Emma because she wants to make sure that the right people at the right level of the society match up. Oh my God.
It's weird. It's
complicated.
It's very complicated.
For a movie named Clueless, it's very complicated.
And I didn't expect it to be that complicated, and maybe it's set in like a world that I can't even touch because again, there were 5 people in my graduating class. To anyone who went to a high school like this, my question for you is, was this accurate as far as like, yes, I think you were in middle school when this came out, but as far as the personalities are concerned, the food chain, pecking order, whatever, is it actually like that? Is it do you think Amy Heckerling did a good job about bringing that to life?
I will say so, and again, this is something that I don't know if you had this for trivia, but Amy Heckerling also did Fast Times in Ridgemont High.
Yes, she did, which you did not care for.
I did not care for. I like this much better than that. But I think that she does have a very good sense of what it is to be a teenager and what it is to have to deal with the different cliques that you need to manage. And I think that was very much represented here. And yes, I went to a private high school, a college preparatory high school that was very competitive. And also too, like we had a lot of rich folks. Like this was a very, very rich, instead of having nose jobs, we were getting our ears candlesticked or whatever. Like instead of like Gucci jackets, it was North Face jackets. Like that's what we had because it's in Pacific Northwest.
Sure.
But yeah, no, you absolutely had like the people that were the elite, that were the popular, and I was not at the top of the food chain by any means.
I feel the same way, and my high school was very small. I think there were 45 high school kids.
Yeah, when I graduated, there were 300 people in my class alone.
And if you didn't play basketball or volleyball, there wasn't much else for you to do. Like hockey didn't come around until
that was true for
winter,
us too.
springtime.
Yeah.
We didn't really have a theater program. We had choir. Like, we were big on choir, but we didn't have a theater program.
Right.
So anything we wanted to do had to be sort of, like, self-produced, and we had to find someone who was willing to, like, take the time to teach us or whatever.
Right.
So I didn't exactly have that big of a pecking order, but yeah, it was...
But this is true to life, I think. And I think also, too, from what I know from some of the other public schools that, you know, were around the city that I lived in, also very true to that in terms of some of the groups that we didn't have in our school, like, you know, well, I shouldn't say that. We had them, but they were smaller, like the Burnouts and like the Skater Kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There were fewer of them.
And I think my school was the one that got the ones that were kicked out of those schools.
Right.
Like we got the ones that the parents just didn't know what to do with.
So, like, okay, so back to this. So we have Ty come in.
Yes.
And they make her pretty, and she sings the Mentos song.
She sings the Mentos commercial.
God.
We should also say that Paul Rudd, who is Cher's ex-stepbrother, is now living in her house because he is on break from college.
So, okay, the Paul Rudd... The Paul Rudd, and I mean that by the character / the through line of this character.
Yeah.
What his communication style is different from literally everybody else in the movie.
Yeah.
Everybody else talks as if they're a caricature, and he's the only person that talks like a normal human being.
I feel like he talks like Paul Rudd.
He does. He just is Paul Rudd. He talks the
Like,
exact same way in I Love You, Man as he does in Clueless.
I'm just gonna grab some turkey and mayo out of the fridge and eat it on the counter here.
That's actually a really good Paul Rudd.
I'm Paul Rudd.
Well, I think I'm going to be Ant-Man.
Yeah, okay. Brian Fantana. Great. I don't age at all.
I don't age!
They could have shot this yesterday.
They did! They did shoot
and
it
he
yesterday.
looks exactly the same.
Like, the only difference is that maybe he spent a little bit too much time in the sun. That's about it.
I don't think he has stepped foot in sunlight. I think he drinks a ton of water. He must lotion like crazy.
Like, and does the man drink alcohol at all?
I don't think so.
It doesn't look like it.
I think he
doesn't
lives
look like it.
Like a hermit.
That's
So
how he looks.
he's
Either that or he drinks
Paul,
the essence of babies.
I imagine Paul Rudd is very at home in this coronavirus world.
Yes,
like he's like
this
indoors.
Is what he
Great.
does. Great.
This is what I do.
This is what I do.
I'm gonna play some PlayStation.
Also, to how Ty dresses, that's how I dressed in the 90s.
That's absolutely how you dress.
I told Ben too. I was like, I had that ear cuff.
The same way you dressed as Amy Smart from Varsity Blues.
I did.
You dressed as Ty.
I did. There were multiple times that I was like, I wore that shirt. I had that ear cuff. I had that necklace. I used to wear my hair like that. Oh my God.
And Breckin Meyer reminded me of like some of my sister's boyfriends growing up.
So, okay, so now she's ready to be presented to the world. So
yes.
They go to a house party, which is seeing that I'm like, see, this is why I never went to house parties ever. Like, I think I went to a total of 2 house parties in high school and college.
I think I did the same.
And I'm like, I'm like that kid that runs into the bedroom laughing and then calls their mom being like, Mom, they're drinking beer. I'm scared. Can you come to get me?
I held everybody's car keys. That's what I did.
Yeah, there you go. So they go, and I love that we've got the Thomas Guide.
Yes, the Thomas Guide.
Anybody that is like below the age of 30 will not really know what we're talking about.
When they're trying to find their way from
we
the
need
Palisades
to throw in a
into
map
the
quest.
valley. Yeah,
Like
Again, this is like GPS doesn't fucking exist.
No,
It's so
we don't
great.
have that.
It's so great.
And so he's like pointing at the Thomas guy to be like, no, you need to turn left on this street. And so they finally get to the party and everything's hopping. And then that's when Ty wants to go hang out with the skater boy, but Cher is like, no,
Jeremy Sisto. Like,
Jeremy Sisto,
he's the guy for
he's
you.
right for you.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then Jeremy Sisto like decides to go after Cher.
Yeah.
Which also, Jeremy Sisto was so fucking dumb because he was like, hey, send me a picture of that picture you took. I'll put it up in my locker. He did it because she took the picture.
Cher took the picture, which seemed kind of silly.
Like, wouldn't you know that she would think that you were thinking about the person
Yeah.
who the picture was of in the first place?
Maybe he just didn't care or be like, why don't you just have a picture of Cher in your locker?
So they have this
confusing.
insane house party, and I love that there are like people throwing up everywhere, and Cher is just like dum de dum dum de, it doesn't
breezing
bother
through
her.
it, like
which
it doesn't even touch
that's
her.
where I think her being aloof like lends itself to her happiness because she's like, oh yeah, he's throwing up. So I was
She's
thinking,
like above it all.
no,
Yeah.
she and it's not above it all in a bad way.
Right.
It's like, oh, I acknowledge that
It
is
doesn't
there,
affect
and
me.
I'm going to move on to the. She is more present than most people I know.
Yeah.
In real life, because
Yeah.
she's
It's
only
really
focused
admirable,
on what's
actually.
in front
It's
of
really
her.
admirable, yeah.
So let's see here. Wait, they went to a house party. The street thing. When people drive and they don't look at the road. Oh, the rolling thing.
Oh, that's right.
That-
Rolling with my homies.
Rolling with my.
Well, they're like doing the dance.
Iconic.
Iconic moment. On the cassette tape, which Brittany Murphy buys. I
Oh my
guess,
God! Yes. So then we have people drive. Oh right. So now they're going their separate ways.
And they have this Californians moment.
I could not stop laughing at that.
where they're trying to decide who needs to drive who,
Who's
but
going
I'm
where,
going here and you're
I
going
need
there.
but I'm going on the highway, so I need to go up to Sunset.
Right,
but
but
then
you
if
can
you're going to be heading south, then why am I going north?
You can just cut over to Hacienda, go south on the 5, and get her to where she needs to go. You know, like, it's this whole thing. It just made me think of the Californians so hard. I'm like, oh, in a city where everybody drives,
Yeah.
this is a thing.
This is a thing. You
actually a
talk
thing.
about what streets you take to get to different places.
Right. Or if you find like a new shortcut, you
Oh
want
my
to share
God!
it with everybody.
It's a whole thing.
Anything to cut your commute time off by 5 minutes.
It's a whole.
That must
fucking
be
thing.
a fucking way of life in California,
Yes.
which is why I don't want to live in California, because I
Right.
don't want to spend half of my life in my
So
car.
I had my friend Daniel Lyman lived in New York. He lived in L.A. I lived in New York.
Yes.
He took the bus.
Really?
He took the bus.
And he just loved
biked
it?
and took the bus.
Ugh.
What he did is he took the bus, and what he would do is take his laptop with him, and he would work on the bus.
Oh.
So he would still have like a 2-hour commute.
Yeah, but he got
But he got
stuff
work done.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I actually ended up saving time at the end of the day because I would, just like work on the bus, and I would have a shorter time I was at the office because I was just working on the bus.
Yeah. If
So-
I were in my car, I would run out of podcasts. Like
Right.
there isn't enough.
Right. It's like being on the subway. Someone else is driving. Someone else is taking care of it so you can do other
Exactly.
shit. This is like that, but you have Wi-Fi that works the whole time.
Oh yeah.
So,
Not like the New York subway.
So then, what's his name? Jerkface
Jeremy Sisto.
goes after Cher, and
Yeah.
she's like, "What? You like me? What?"
And he's like, yeah.
And then he gets, although I do have to give him credit, because she's like, let me out of the car. Stop it. Leave me alone. Go away. And he's like, fine. He drives off. She's like, wait, where are you going? Well, you just
He
said
just told
go
him to
away.
Then she gets mugged in the parking lot
Which I loved.
by a hilarious
I
mugger.
loved how she whined about that. Like, it wasn't like freaking out. It wasn't screaming.
Like, give me the phone,
She's
give me
like,
your purse.
oh my God, okay. Oh God. I loved that.
And then he tells her to get down on the ground. And she's like, no. She's like, you can have my phone, you can have my purse, but this dress, like...
You cannot, I'm
you
not going
can't
to
get
ruin
it dirty.
this dress.
You can't. He's like, just do it. He's like, I will seriously
Which
shoot
I
you
will
in the
say,
face.
in a post-Me Too world, I thought he was referring to something much more violent than
Right,
that.
right. He's like, count to 100. Thank you.
So then she calls Paul Rudd to come pick her up, and he does, and she's having a rough night, and he's like, oh, but she's sweet. And then she quotes Hamlet correctly, and his beret-wearing poetry slam girlfriend doesn't know Hamlet.
Right, and that's sort of my argument for Cher. I'm like, she's not stupid. Like, she knows that Polonius said, this above all to thine own self be true, and not Hamlet.
Right, but she knows it because of Mel Brooks.
No,
Not Mel Brooks.
we're back to this again. Mel Brooks did not direct Braveheart. Mel Brooks did not star or direct
No, but if he
Braveheart.
did, though.
Mel
But
Brooks
if
did
he
not
did-
play Martin Riggs.
No, but if he did.
If he did, though,
Mel
Brooks's Braveheart.
think about how much better Braveheart would be. And Braveheart's good, but it'd be so much better.
And I actually legitimately appreciated.
Gibson.
I legitimately appreciated the reference to Mel Gibson's Hamlet because I think it's a great film adaptation.
I don't think I've seen it.
Franco Zeffirelli directed it.
Oh.
It gets rid of the whole Rosencrantz, not Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, Fortinbras, that whole side story.
I have no idea what that is.
It's like Fortinbras is trying to take over Denmark and there's this whole war happening. It just gets rid of the war completely. So you just focus on Hamlet and his family.
Really?
Yeah, it's fantastic. We should watch it. We should watch it.
So then I wrote down pleats in all caps.
Oh my god, this is when
Rick-
Sam Hawkins shows up.
It's not Sam Hawkins. No, he looks like what's his name that sings "Never Gonna Give You Up."
When a stranger to love.
That guy. What's
Yeah,
his
that
name?
guy. Rick
Rick.
Rick Isley.
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 Thank you.
We should say our friend Molly is here on the podcast
We should
today.
just have her sit down.
I was gonna say like we could edit it out, but I love the little side notes that are popping in and correcting us.
Rick.
Molly's,
He looks like Rick Isley, yes, and
Rick
he's
Isley.
wearing pleated khakis, and he
Right.
comes in like James Dean,
he does.
Yes.
Straight up like baby boy James Dean.
and she is a
And
smitten kitten.
Smitten kitten.
Yeah,
And so he's like, "Hey, do you know of any cool parties going on?"
he has a
And
very
she's
high pitched
like,
voice too.
Okay. Hey, do you know of any cool parties going on this weekend? No. Do you know of any clam bakes this weekend? And she's
Didn't
like,
he say like dollface and shit
Yeah,
like that?
something like
Hey,
that.
dollface, you know any
Yeah.
clam bakes happening this weekend?
and then she's like,
Almost Joe Pesci.
my ex stepbrother's friends
Right.
are having a party. Which who is going to that? Who would? I don't know if I would hear that and be like, cool, that sounds like a happening time. I would
Right.
be like, okay, that's fun for your ex stepbrother's friends.
He's like, yeah, cool. He
Okay,
says something
neat.
like a riff, like a 60s word or something like that.
Yeah, no, and he bothered me because he reminded me of an ex-boyfriend of mine who broke up with me. Who said he's like he wanted to break up, and he's like, because I was moving to Seattle, and he's
Right.
like, we need to break up, and I was like, I don't think so, I'm not really attached, like I think it'd be fine if we continue dating. He's like, I don't know, doll, I don't know.
I don't know, dog.
And I'm like, you're from
Anybody got changed for a C note?
you're like
Prohibition was bullshit.
I was like, you need to shut up. He bugged me until then. He was a bit more gender fluid than I was fine with
That
it.
is
And I also wrote
amazing.
down Mandy Patinkin is so concerned.
Oh, right. Oh,
Because there
what
was
that
one
part?
guy at the party who came up. He's like, "Whoa, are you okay?" I don't remember, but it looked like you yelled out, "Mandy Patinkin."
It looked like Mandy Patinkin. He did. Are you all right? I saw you throwing up over there. No, she fell down the stairs.
Right, that's what it was.
And he was very concerned.
And then Rick is like, baby boy face is pissed that they're charging for beer.
Yeah, but we should say the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones are playing this concert.
What is the one guy that is jumping around stage that is not singing,
It's like
not playing an instrument? He's just jumping. He looks like a guy in a suit that got lost.
It's like
I'm telling you right now, that is the Buster of that situation. Whereas like everyone's out there singing and dancing and playing guitar except for Buster.
he's the Buster Bluth
He's the
of the
Buster
band.
Bluth of the band. They just found a suit for him and put him on stage.
Hey, brother.
So then I was like, oh my God, he's gay.
Yes.
At first I was like, oh my God, yes, he's bisexual.
I
was like, yes.
I wanted to make reference of people's and characters' sexual identity in this movie. We have the PE teacher.
Yes, which I did not appreciate.
We have
that.
this character.
Yes.
I don't know if we were brave enough yet in these kinds of movies, or if we were willing to broach the issue of either homosexuality for men or being a lesbian for women. I don't know if we were quite there yet to like truly identify and be out front about who these characters are, because I don't know if it's ever explicitly said like, oh, the gym teacher's a lesbian or this man is gay.
No, it is said that he's gay.
It is? Okay.
Because
okay.
Turk says it in the car. Remember his riff.
Right, but he never says like, I don't think he says he's gay. He has all these other...
I think it's pretty close
Molly's
enough.
nodding her head. So
I think it's pretty close enough.
Okay.
For him to say, I don't remember what his rant is. His
He
rant
does-
is like something like, you know,
like a
Judy Lovin'.
card carrying friend of Dorothy or something like that.
Yes, exactly.
It's
close
this whole
enough.
thing. But the driving scene is like a whole other scene I
So,
want to talk about.
so yes, he's gay.
I guess touching on that, I didn't know if I don't think we were as brave as we are 25 years after the fact with being as, I don't know if we were as brave as we are now as far as being completely out front with letting these characters sort of breathe and be who they are.
Yeah.
I felt like
was
they were
kinda like
hiding these guys a little bit.
But then I also think that there was also a part of it that like they didn't care. It's kind of
Sure.
like the same thing
Maybe
where
that
it's
maybe
like
that was it. Yeah.
in Schitt's Creek where it's like, oh, the discovery that happens, oh, you're gay or you're whatever. The discovery's like, oh,
Yeah.
but there's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
Which is what I
Right.
appreciated very much about Schitt's Creek. And I actually noticed that about this is that it's like, oh, he's gay. Okay. So then it's like it wasn't a big deal or a disappointment. It was like, oh, I'm stupid for not having recognized that. Anyways, it's great that I have a friend now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Okay.
that's what I appreciated.
Okay.
The recognition
see
was
that.
a bit of a shock, but it wasn't that there was something wrong.
Well, for her especially, like,
Right.
because she's in love with this guy.
Right. Well, in love, quote unquote.
And they end up having a date.
Right. Where she doesn't. I also thought so much of Mindy Kaling when she's like, I don't rely on mirrors. So she just takes Polaroids.
So she takes
of herself
Polaroids.
because she doesn't rely on mirrors. And she said, you always need to have something baking. And she just drops the roll of cookie dough
Onto a pan.
Which I want to know if that works.
I don't think so.
I don't think so
I
either.
don't think it
but
does. Molly's like, no.
And then so we have the date, and
comes
she's
over.
like playing footsie, but he brings over like what?
He brings over Some Like It
Spartacus?
Hot and Spartacus.
Yeah. Very masculine and like
Yeah.
homoerotic overtone movies. And she like tries playing footsie with him, and he's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "My feet are cold." He's like, "Oh, here," and gives her a blanket.
Well, he puts a pillow over her feet. He's
Yeah.
like, there you go. She's like, thanks. And then she like tries to play with her hair.
Oh
and
my
then
god, and
falls
rolls
off
the bed. I did not see that
So
coming. I
amazing.
lost my shit at that.
Just,
that was
just
so
credit.
great.
I know we'll probably touch on this later, but full credit to Alicia Silverstone for being just
Oh
the
my
absolute
God.
center of the universe in this movie. She's so fucking
Like,
good.
and she has like in her physical comedy too is like Lucille Ball level physical comedy.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
really goes just all for it and
Right.
all in,
Yeah.
which I loved. And then when they're discussing, oh no, he's gay, the freeway scene.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Where
I have
Turk is trying to
never-
teach Dion how to drive, but Cher's in the back trying to describe her date and what went wrong and what did I do and all
Oh
this
my
kind
god!
of stuff.
And so they accidentally get onto the freeway, and like the old people that are giving the finger to them, and the giant truck that comes behind them,
Right.
and the bikers, and they're screaming.
Everyone is flipping
Oh
out.
my god! And that's when she realizes, like, oh, maybe I want to be in love, because like these guys are in love, and it's a near-death experience, quote unquote, that makes you realize that you really want that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then I can't remember what happens at that point. I said, why is this 50-year-old talking with a teenager? Because sometimes casting doesn't have options.
Sure.
Oh,
There-
then we have the driver's test.
Yes.
Which, I'm sorry, before we get into the driver's test, can we just take a second to talk about I feel like there were so many scenes that were cut of Amber, what's her name?
Amber?
Yeah,
Who?
the girl with the red hair. Because like she was like the
Oh,
nemesis.
that's right. Yeah. I was
There were
almost,
so many scenes.
I was trying to describe
that
her.
she was like, you were trying to describe
Well,
her?
describe her look, her whole style. What was it? It was like Tim Burton meets Betty Boop meets the Flintstones. I don't know what the fuck her style
That
was.
sounds right.
I'm like, is this a Beverly
That
Hills thing?
sounds
Yeah,
right. That
okay.
sounds very
it
right.
was very confusing.
It was
to me.
confusing. It was the 90s. We didn't know what
We
was
didn't know any
Y2K was
better.
on its way. We had nothing but fear and smiley face buttons.
Bill Clinton was in there
This
balancing
is
the
all
budget.
we had.
You know.
But I think that she could have been a really fun nemesis or a really fun, like, other fun part. And it was just little blips of commentary that
Yeah.
she came in on, and then they made fun of her and she disappeared. And I felt like that was a waste. I felt like there either were scenes that were cut or she didn't need to be there at all. I wasn't quite sure what the
There
purpose
should have been a
was.
rivalry, or
There
maybe
should have
something.
been a rivalry, or there should have been some kind of arc versus just her appearing and disappearing.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree.
even the skater boy had a bit of an arc.
Yeah.
Well, quite a big arc by the end for
Yes.
the donations that
Very
he
much
makes.
so. Yeah.
Sorry, I have to interject. I
Yes.
know I wasn't asked to, but if she was not in the movie, we would not have that iconic line about my plastic surgeon told me I can't have do anything where
Balls are being thrown at my face.
My
Well,
plastic.
there goes your social life.
This is true. This is true. So
that's true.
I don't know. I just felt like it was a waste of a character, and that there could have been more.
Yeah,
to
maybe
it.
there was.
But so then she does the driving test and she fails, which the driving test was so great.
The driving test, was that after she thought she ruined her dad's case?
No. After the ruined her dad's case is almost at the end.
Oh,
of the movie.
okay.
That's like.
Then what is she so down about? Like taking the driver's test? Why is she's so distracted over?
She feels like she's lonely. She feels like 'cause she's just seen this like near-death experience happen, and these two who are in love.
But also, Ty turns into kind of a bitch.
So that's what we come to, because Ty shows
created
up,
a monster,
and she's flirting with Paul Rudd,
which she doesn't care for.
Right, and that's when she realizes that she's in love with her stepbrother.
Okay.
So that's when she gets down, and she's down on herself.
But she has to go take her driver's test. Like Brittany Murphy says something very.
No, driver's test happens before that.
Really?
Yeah, because she goes to the driver's test, fails the driver's test, comes back, sees
that's
them flirting.
Right. That's right.
And then she's like, "Look, you're a virgin, and you can't even drive."
Which is
and
another
it's like
iconic line.
That, and like with tears in her eyes, she was like, "That was pretty cruel." Like, oh, it was so great.
Yeah,
it was so great. I wrote Complain Rock. Oh, she said something about all these guys listening to Complain Rock, and how do they dress with these baggy pants and look like they just rolled out of bed, you know? And then that's when she realizes that she's hot for stepbrother.
Yep.
So at that point, then she doesn't really quite know what to do, because she's like, well, I don't know how to be around him now. Like, I'm super awkward now because I realize I like him. I'm, what was it? But crazy in love with him. I loved that phrase. He's kind of a Baldwin.
He is a bit of a Baldwin.
And she has the fountain epiphany.
That's right.
So then that's when I can't remember, there's a turn somehow where she's like, well, the only way that I'm going to feel better about myself is if I do good things for other people.
Right.
So then that's when she decides that she wants to help out with the relief fund, or the whatever that thing is for the beach relief fund.
Right.
So she like starts bringing in all this designer
all these
clothing,
donations, all these skis and tennis rackets,
and the dad's like, "What are you doing? You can't take that there." And she's like, "Daddy, it was a hurricane. People might have lost their sporting equipment." So she does all of that, and that's when we have the arc for the skater boy. You know, he's decided to start a 12-step program. And is donating his bongs and such
to kitchenwares and
housewares. To kitchenwares and housewares. That was really sweet. I loved his character.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
Breckenmeyer is so great.
Anything that Breckenmeyer's in, like, unless he's a raging asshole, which I have not seen.
He's great in Kate and Leopold. He's really good in both Rat Race and Road Trip.
He's just a sweetheart. Yeah, he's like, I want him to be my friend.
You can fit him in anywhere.
Yeah.
He's in The Ring. The first one.
The Ring?
The Ring.
The one with the girl with the long hair?
With Naomi Watts, yes.
Rocket.
Does not.
No.
Spoilers.
I can't remember The Ring. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I just remember the horse jumping off of the ferry. That's all I remember. That's not true. I remember other stuff.
I saw that movie in the theater.
Let's not go there. Then she's like trying to help out with the case, and she goes to her dad, and she's like, I need help. And he's like, well, why don't you help me with the case? And she's like, but there's this boy. And he's like, well, you're gorgeous and amazing. You remind me of your mom. They have a really sweet moment.
Yeah. And it's a really good relationship too. I feel like even though Dana Day is like, I love also the fact that the housekeeper's afraid.
Oh my God, that's right.
She's like constantly running away.
Anytime he starts walking towards her, she screams and starts running. It's like, she pays you. He says all this sweet stuff, so then I think she starts wanting to help him out with his casework.
Yeah, which she does.
And then she messes.
She makes a mistake. This other lawyer on his team starts flipping out at her, and Paul Rudd's like, "Dude, relax."
Can you
she
imagine
made a mistake.
auditioning for that role?
Oh, for mean dick lawyer guy.
Mean dick lawyer guy.
Oh yeah, I'd book that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I would.
You think so?
That would be so.
You're like, that's
accessible.
my part.
I'm like, that's me.
Forget Paul Rudd. That's my role.
I can't compete with Paul Rudd.
I can't
because he doesn't age. So he could be 15. He could be 35.
I look like I'm his
gonna
father
be
at this point.
Guy. What's suspense?
So then that's when they
Cher
have
starts getting down on herself.
Right. And so then that's when they share that they care about each other, and then he kisses her, and I felt insanely uncomfortable.
Insanely gross. Well, it's like, yeah.
I know, it's like, what do you do? Because it's like, that's the thing, is that you couldn't do what they did in Emma and make them cousins.
You can't be a cousin nuzzler.
That'd be way worse.
Yeah.
So it's like stepbrother. It's like, okay, well,
ex-stepbrother.
I can allow for the ex-stepbrother.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Still, it's like, it would be one thing if they said, you know, we were brother and sister for like 6 months before our parents got divorced.
I would just have a flow chart readily available for people, just to be like,
pull
okay,
down.
Here's my family
timeline?
history. Here's the timeline. There was no crossover. Crossover.
Right. Yeah. But
I always assume there is no crossover. In my mind, it's explained to me. Maybe it wasn't, but married to his mom.
Right. Okay.
Living together. He like went to live with his dad while he was married to Cher's mom. Like they never lived together in my mind.
Okay, that makes it a little better.
I'm still not on board. I'm still not on board. I still, and I'm okay with it. I'm all right with not being on board. If the rest of the movie I really liked and that's the part I didn't like that's like
sure.
30-70. I'm fine with that. But that was, and then it's like they have this cute little marriage at the end, which I love, the wedding dress.
With the two teachers that they got together.
Right. And then like the cute flower toss thing, and that's I think that's the movie. That's
pretty
it.
much it.
Yeah.
We do have our happy ending, and I feel like our characters really come full circle.
Yeah.
They learn a lot.
We're gonna hop into some trivia.
Let's hop into some trivia. Let's smash that trivia music. Alicia Silverstone, who plays Cher, actually did not know how to correctly pronounce Haitians in the classroom. And the director, Amy Heckerling, told the crew not to correct her because she liked it so much and wanted it to be in the movie.
Oh.
So that is her not knowing how to...
That makes me very happy.
Haitians, I think is what she says.
That's amazing.
During the game of Suck and Blow at the party, the cast was unable to sustain the breath to make a real credit card pass from mouth to mouth. A prop card made of cardboard was substituted. Yeah, I noticed that too.
I was like, someone's
and still didn't
card?
work, so holes were drilled into it to make it easier, and when this failed as well, the whole cast's lips were so heavily coated in chapstick to force the card to stick. So not only did they punch holes in the card, they had to lather on chapstick to their lips in order to get it.
My God. That's insane. I feel like I don't know. I feel like as a singer, I'm like, that's weak sauce.
I played Suck and Blow once, and I ended up kissing a boy.
That's the point of Suck and Blow. You can't. It doesn't work.
Oh my God.
Paul Rudd auditioned for the roles of Murray, Christian, and Elton. Rudd assumed that the character of Murray was a white teenager trying to act like a rapper.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine that audition?
I mean...
Like, no, let me take a crack at it.
I can do it.
Give it to me. I can do this. Alicia Silverstone did not have to audition for the role, as Amy Heckerling wrote it with her in mind. The film's writers sat in classes in Beverly Hills High to get a flavor for the students.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Which I really appreciated. As everyone probably knows by now, plot, characters, themes, and values are all based on Jane Austen's novel of Emma.
Yep.
Heckerling was asked by Paramount to write a film for teenagers, and she initially remembered the novel as she had read it as a teenager.
Aww.
While filming, Paul Rudd was mugged and had his backpack stolen, and it had the script inside. So even back then, that was a risk.
Did he whine like that, though? Did he go, oh, no.
During the film, there are 53 different kinds of tartan/plaid used.
Yeah, there's a lot of plaid.
53
There is
different kinds.
Lot of plaid.
7 of which are worn by Cher and 12 by other major characters.
But I feel like it's upscale. Like, it is not New Hampshire plaid.
No,
it is Beverly Hills
it's not
plaid.
flannel. It's not
It
like
is
hunting
not,
flannel.
no, it's a very different kind of plaid.
Megan, would you recommend Clueless?
Here's the thing. Ben, I absolutely would. I would recommend Clueless, and I would actually recommend it, like, literally for probably anybody.
Yeah.
I think the only thing, again, that, like, the stepbrother thing just bugs me. But if you can get past it, it's a really fun movie.
Yeah, it is.
I don't remember, someone said that they were like, I stand by the fact that Cher is a feminist and one of the most important feminist figures from the 90s.
A 90s feminist?
Specifically a 90s feminist.
Right.
I would love to hear more about that.
Me too.
Like, the thing is that I can see shades of it. I want some examples from her about that.
Okay.
So I think that this is actually a movie I would like to watch again, because I feel like there's stuff that I missed.
Sure.
And I think that at the same time, though, if you're just looking for a fun movie to watch, all of it is in there.
Like escapism.
Escapism, if you're in your 30s or 40s, nostalgia,
Yeah.
heavy nostalgia.
Especially now.
Really great characters, except for Ambular, or however your name's pronounced. It's like a bunch of really, really great characters, all fleshed out. And there's so much heart, you know? Like, even for if you took, like, Elle from Legally Blonde,
I mean,
and
there would
mixed
be
her
no
with
Legally
Glinda.
Blonde. There would be no
from
Legally Blonde
Wicked.
without this movie.
No, exactly. Which this is the OG, and so I think that is the initial thing. It's like the Dolly Parton song that's like, I might be blonde, but I'm not stupid.
Yeah,
you know, and I think that's a big part of this. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
What about you?
The same. Of course, there was so much that I didn't pick up as an 11-year-old teenage boy. But watching this now, I have such an appreciation not only for the writing and the kind of balls it really took to make a movie like this. I think is very, the tone of it was very true to life, and you can tell that they had done the work as far as the pre-production and wanting to really get the life of these high school students right, but also being self-aware enough to make it like laugh out loud funny.
Right.
And it also made me appreciate the talent of Alicia Silverstone. I
Yeah.
can't say that I've seen a ton of movies with her.
No, but she's very
But
talented.
she's incredibly talented, and I know that she's still working, which is great. I feel like maybe she fell into some sort of caricature or Hollywood pushed her into this specific corner to maybe where the opportunities dried up a little bit, but it was so great to see her in like her star-making turn.
Right.
As Cher, and it's a privilege to watch her in this movie.
And what was great too is that it's like she's blonde, yes, she likes, you know, dressing a certain way, yes, she can come off as aloof and ditzy, but she has a lot of self-worth, and she very much is not like an easy lay in any way, shape, or form. She takes care of herself and takes care of the people around her. And I think that's something that you don't necessarily associate with a person that looks like her.
Yeah, it's true.
If we're going to go stereotypes.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really great that they still held true a little bit to that stereotype to make it funny, but then totally flipped it on its head at the same time. I think that's very difficult to do, and she did a great job with that.
Yeah, and I credit Amy Heckerling for
Absolutely.
the direction and the writing for balancing
This
that
was a
so well.
Big step up from Fast Times.
It was made a decade later.
I know, but out of the two, I would prefer this.
And
one.
I'd say it wasn't as female focused as this is.
No.
You get more of Jeff Spicoli, you get like
right.
It's
super hypersexualized as well.
Yeah, it is.
Which I didn't care for.
Right.
But.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's Clueless. I don't know. Well, okay. So here's the thing. I have a couple of ideas.
Okay.
For our Halloween episode.
Okay.
I'm not sure which one's right yet. So I'm wondering if we put stuff up for a vote, or what do you think?
I think a vote is good.
Okay.
I'm curious to hear what the movies are.
I mean, I was thinking about, if we're going to have people vote, then I think they should know. I was thinking about Beetlejuice.
Okay.
Because I haven't seen Beetlejuice.
I could have sworn we watched Beetlejuice.
I've seen parts of Beetlejuice.
Okay.
I was also thinking about, what was the movie? What is it? Death Becomes Her?
Yeah. With Meryl Streep?
Yeah. Right? Where she like is dead and comes back to life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially. But
right.
Goldie Hawn and Bruce Willis.
Yes. I was also thinking about that one.
I think that would be a fun one.
Those were my two. Are there any that you can think of that are Hollywood themed? I have to say, our Texas Chainsaw Massacre is probably one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah?
I love that episode.
What a great movie. I was thinking...
That's a horrible movie.
It's an incredible
movie. I will
movie.
fight you. I will fight you for forever on that movie. At any rate.
I was thinking the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, that's also a really good one.
So let me stew on that, but we'll probably have 3 or 4 different options.
We've got some options. Well, we can't overwhelm them.
That's
also,
right.
too, Instagram only gives me 2 options for people to pick from.
Okay, so we'll have to boil it down.
We've got a couple of ideas.
And don't just vote for that. You should go out and vote. Period.
Yeah.
Please.
Period. If you're going to go out and vote, if you're in New Hampshire, make sure you vote for Jean Shaheen.
Because she kept our jobs at the shipyard when Trump wanted cuts.
Oh my God.
The Jean Shaheen commercial.
There is, all right, really quickly. There's a Jean Shaheen commercial here in New Hampshire saying, oh, Jean Shaheen for the people. She's here for the people.
For the Senate, right?
For
She's
the
running
Senate,
for...
yeah. So there's this guy that comes up who says, I'm going to try to get through it without laughing. She kept She protected our jobs at the shipyards when Trump wanted to do cuts. I can't do it. But if Peter Griffin was a real life person,
Peter Griffin from
and
Family Guy
didn't know
came
that
to
that's
life.
who he was.
Oh my God.
That's who this guy is.
When he came on screen, I was like, holy shit, it's Peter Griffin.
You just need to put glasses on him.
It's insane.
And he's done.
It's insane.
So at any rate,
Anyways,
vote for Jean Shaheen.
Vote Jean Shaheen if you're in New Hampshire.
If you're in New Hampshire.
We can't tell you who to vote for president, but come on.
Come on.
Come on.
I mean, come on.
Come on. Like, is there really a choice here?
I mean, really.
Come on.
Come on. So have a plan. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter. Subscribe, like, share. Be sure to leave a review for us.
Leave us a review. We want to hear from you. Unless it's 1 star, then go away.
And then remember to, when you vote, be sure to don't take a selfie of your ballot because that's bad.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
That can get you in a lot of trouble.
Yep.
But instead, take a picture of you either at the mailbox dropping off your ballot or at the ballot dropping off your ballot.
Yep.
Or a picture of you with your I voted sticker. And you will be entered to win an item from our merch store.
We have at least one person who's done it.
We do.
That's a vote for Biden.
Looking at you, Clara. So please like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you next week
for our Halloween episode.
Bye.